This painting of the flight into Egypt by Giotto is a remarkable piece of work, which forms just one of a whole series of frescoes on the life of Christ. Giotto is interesting because he was the first of the Italian Renaissance artists to be able to depict people as they really were. So instead of the flat, two-dimensional figures we see in medieval art, the people here are real human beings with weight, rounded form, gestures, and movement. And then Giotto's paintings are more naturalistic, with a better use of colour. For instance, here the sky is blue instead of gold. He also wanted the person looking at the painting to feel that they were not just spectators, but part of the scene, in this case, walking along the track with the Holy Family. The story of the flight into Egypt, as told by St. Matthew, is very short. When the wise men did not return to him, Herod instigated a search for the child and killed all the male children in Bethlehem aged 2 years or under. Joseph, warned by an angel, had already taken the child and his mother by night and fled to Egypt. However, this short story was soon elaborated by various contemporary writers who added a number of other details, including various miracles which took place along the way to Egypt. An angel was said to have accompanied the Holy Family on their journey, and this painting records some of the extra details which were added to the story. For instance, you can see the angel in the top right-hand corner of the picture. He had various duties, including pointing the way, preparing food, or ferrying them across rivers. The artist also includes the tradition that Joseph and Mary and Jesus were accompanied by Joseph's older children from a previous marriage. So we see 3 young people on the left and a young man who leads the donkey. But in spite of the beauty and interest of this painting, we have to face the fact that what we are looking at are refugees fleeing from a cruel tyrant. And we have all seen this same scene many times in graphic detail on our television screens. People travelling on old lorries or on animals or on foot, carrying whatever possessions they could collect and looking for refuge and safety in another land. And the story of the flight into Egypt, as recorded in this painting, challenges us to think about the mystery of suffering in the world that Christ came to redeem, and the difficult choices and compromises we all have to make. In this story, Jesus, who was to end his life for others, begins it by having others die for him. His safety is bought at the cost of the slaughtered children of Bethlehem. But in this world there are no easy choices. Mary and Joseph could not turn back to save the massacred children, for they would only add one more body to the pile. It is their duty to leave the country, however unheroic and at such terrible cost to others. There is no simple way of resolving life's dreadful dilemmas, and Mary must have mourned for those bereaved mothers all her life. Nevertheless, amidst all the violence and sorrow of the world, people have struggled to keep their vision of the eternal in our midst, the presence of the eternal, the incarnate at the heart of our being and our world. And a hint of this presence may be seen in the painting in the figures of Mary and Jesus. They are a calm presence at the centre of great hurry and activity. You can almost sense the movement, the figures moving past us as we look at the picture. The angel hurries them on. The donkey and Joseph and each of the young people are stepping out, involved in the necessity of escape, of avoiding death and persecution. The procession moves from left to right in a purposeful way, reflected in the faces of Joseph and his children. Joseph urges on his son, who leads the donkey, and the three behind are talking to each other anxiously. But in contrast to all this movement, in the centre of the painting sits Mary, holding the child, an image of stillness, silence, and reflective contemplation. This stillness is echoed by the mountain behind Mary. Its triangular shape matches the shape of Mary and the child. The stillness of the mountain speaks of the eternal presence of God, for a mountain was so often seen as the dwelling place of God in the Old Testament. And so, at the heart and in the centre of this painting, amidst the busyness, energy and activity of the flight into Egypt, is a still point of hope. The tender embrace of Mary and the baby Jesus is the face of love shining in the midst of desolation and destruction. It is the presence of the eternal in the face of suffering, which offers hope through self-giving love that comes into the world in the birth of Christ. The light came into the darkness, and the darkness has not put it out. And so this painting shows us just one moment in the painful early life of Christ. But Matthew tells us that when Herod was dead, Joseph brought Mary and Jesus back to Israel, to Nazareth, where some years later his ministry of love and service began. And this process of death and new life, of fleeing and returning, of hope in failure, is summed up in the sentence which ends Matthew's account of the journey. When Herod died, an angel appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, "Rise and return to Israel." And so they returned to their own city of Nazareth. And the child grew and became strong, filled with wisdom, and the favour of God was upon him.